Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission meeting of April 28th, 2022. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:01. And let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to invite our new Commissioner, Murphy, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is roll call. Ms. Fatua.
Commissioner Andrade Vallarta. Here. Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Dorn Parker. Here. Commissioner Glab.
Here.
Commissioner Murphy.
Here.
Vice Chair Rutherford.
Present.
Chair Ashendorf.
Here.
All commissioners are present, along with Director Jason Minter and Recreation Manager Monique Villasenor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fatua. The next item on this evening's agenda is public comment. Now is the time for the public to address the commission on items not on this evening's agenda. And so if you are here to speak, please come up to the mic. You will have 3 minutes. Oh. Well,
you should be able to turn on it. Wait for the red light. You'll see it on your mic.
Okay, how about now? You can hear me all right? All right, excellent. All right, well, thank you for providing this forum for us. My name is Eric Ortiz, and I'm a resident here at Civic Center Park, just a few steps away from you here. And I'm here with my family to propose a new shared recreational space here in Costa Mesa. This space would be a low cost, low maintenance, and enjoyable for all ages regardless of skill level. It promotes health and fitness for all residents, and that's all year round. This shared space is called a pump track. And if you haven't heard of a pump track is a simple course that is adaptable to anything with wheels. So it can be bikes, skates, scooters, skateboards, anything like that. It includes a series of small hills and turns that allow a rider to gain momentum simply with no pedaling, just using inertia to propel themselves forward. A pump track in Costa Mesa, I believe, would be a great way for all of us to play as a family and to promote fitness. It could also be a draw for visitors from all around the world, as expert level pump track riders are now gaining a national attention. Championship events around the country are becoming more viable, and sporting events would be a great draw for the city. My wife and I have provided some more information to be reviewed and considered by the city via the PAC comments email. We just sent a couple videos highlighting what a pump track is, how we can put one together, how we can come together with it as a city and really promote it and get the residents involved, because right now the one that we go to is all the way in Temecula. That seems to be the closest one. And so we love it so much. My son is 3 years old, and it's really brought us together on this one thing. We go all the way out there, and we just have a blast on it. And there's always a lot of great positive energy around it and positive people. So I thought it would be great for our city. I know we've got the skate park. That's also been great, but we'd love to have a pump track as well. So thank you very much.
your phone and would like to speak, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 when prompted to speak. Ms. Fatua, do we have anyone on Zoom?
I see no hands raised, Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Then we'll close public comment. All right, we will move on now to commissioner comments. And first, I'd like to welcome our newest commissioner, Michelle Murphy. And if you would like to take a few moments and introduce yourself and share with us a few things.
Is it working?
Okay, I thought I pressed that button.
Mic is on. Said I was in queue. Cash and Angela wanted to speak before me. No, yes, I'm Michelle Murphy. I live in the College Park neighborhood of Costa Mesa. I have two sons in the Newport Mesa schools, a 10 and an 11-year-old. I spend most of my Friday nights at Jack Hemmett Fields for Friday Night Lights. Spend most of my Saturdays next to Jack Hemmett Fields on the for the Costa Mesa All-American Little League games that are right next to Jack Hemmett behind Costa Mesa High School is where the kids all play over there. So I am very familiar with my parks, especially the ones that have sports fields on them, because that is where I've been spending the majority of my afternoons and evenings for the last few years.
Thank you very much, and welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll move down the line to Commissioner Dorn Parker.
I have very little this time. The only thing is, I did have quite a few families that looked at the study session on Tuesday about the investments in the parks, and they were very thrilled. So thank you, staff, for preparing a 5-year plan. It worked out well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Glab.
No comments.
All right, thank you. We'll move down to Commissioner Andrade Vallarta.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair. I unfortunately missed that presentation, but one of the things that I wanted to just bring to attention as we're getting ready for the new year is an opportunity for a what we call a pocket park on the west side of Costa Mesa. Specifically, it's a nice, seems like a available unit space on the cross streets of Pomona and Wilson. I'm not sure if that has been evaluated at some point. It does look like a private property that may be available should a potential offer be made. So just wanted to present that opportunity again, and also look forward to Director Minter. I'll be working with you to set up a time to just hear about the latest developments on the west side. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Yes, thank you. I thought I would take a minute or two to report back on a conversation that I had with two individuals about a potential open streets event happening in Costa Mesa in about a year. So last week or the week before, I can't remember, I had a Zoom conversation with city staff member Brett Atencio Thomas. I think that's his full name, and also Ralph Tabata, who is on the Committee on Walkability. I think I'm getting the titles right. They were updating me in terms of some of the plans, but as far as I understand it, there may be a line item in the budget in about a year to hold an event, an open streets event, something, if you're familiar with the Ciclavia that happens in LA and other cities, in Costa Mesa. I believe there are grand plans, some of which I have in my own head in terms of what we can do, but really we want to be realistic in terms of what we can have happen in a year. So there is some talk about having, I think it's about a 6-mile course that would begin at Tewinkle and end at Mesa Verde. I'm excited to say that it would be on the west side. It would be a chance to begin the event, to have a first year, see how it goes. I am not the person to contact about this, but I just wanted to report back that I'm happy to bring news of that conversation to you on the commission in terms of next steps.
Thank you. Vice Chair Rutherford?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's great to see everybody this evening. I just wanted to extend a brief congratulations to Jason, Monique, Laura, the entire Parks and Community Services Department team. The recent 2 public events that the department organized, Spring Fest and the Earth Day Festival, were an incredible success, and I think really reflect well on all the hard work, the dedication that I know you put into those events. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that we appreciate that and we congratulate you on the success of those events. And I also wanted to thank Mr. Ortiz and your family for joining us tonight. I think this is where you're sitting is how many of us first got involved in local politics. So the involvement and the comments and your ideas are a very important part of this process. So thank you for showing up tonight. That's it.
Thank you, Vice Chair. A couple of comments. I would like to echo your sentiments on the event. I thought that Snoopy was going to be our finest event that we'd ever had, and Earth Day topped that. It was an event for the entire family. Earth Day. Yes, it was wonderful. And so I can't wait till Arbor Day comes tomorrow.
Top Snoopy House?
I thought that was the best Snoopy house we've ever had. So things are getting better all the time. And this little guy says hello too. He enjoyed it. I'd also like to share some really exciting news about the Dungan Park Library, the library at Lions Park, Dungan Library. The musical instruments that were presented to us last year are now in storage, and they are going to be installed in the coming months. So that's going to be a wonderful addition outside of the children's portion of the Dungan Library. So we're looking forward to that. Just a reminder that on Monday, May 9th, we will have our featured artist at the Senior Center, Jonathan Seichel, from 1 o'clock till 2:30. The public is welcome to join us at the Costa Mesa Senior Center to meet him and see his artwork. And beginning this coming Monday, the Youth Art Gallery will feature works from Mesa High School students, so we're looking forward to the transition into some new artwork from our high school. And speaking on the arts front, Orange County Museum of Art continues to build its way up into the sky. My favorite trees, the Palo Verdes, were delivered last week, and there are some more trees coming up, and we're going to get to top that off very shortly. So we are going to welcome our museum in short order. And finally, if you don't have this, this is the finest rec guide you will ever see. This is the long-awaited in paper. We can hold it in our hands now. You can find everything from concerts in the park to future events that are coming. All of our parks are listed, and all of the amenities for our parks are in here. Congratulations to our Parks Department. It is a work of art in my estimation. So I'm really excited to welcome all the activities to our parks this summer. And thank you very much. So with those comments, we will move on to approval of the minutes of March 24th. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Dorn Parker and seconded by Vice Chair. We'll call for the question.
So in this motion, you guys have to tab the first motion on your screen. Do you see the?
So clarification.
Maker of the motion needs to hit make motion.
There we go. And Vice Chair. And now we call for the question.
One moment, let me see.
It's not.
We're on roll call still?
No, one moment. Let me try resetting this.
It says we're in idle, Ms. Fatua.
It started a while ago. Okay, let's see.
Is it a full moon?
I'm gonna do manual motion, so
There you go.
hold on.
Now motion made, yeah.
And then vice chair.
Somebody seconded.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Now we can vote, is that correct?
correct.
All right.
Vice Chair Rutherford? Okay. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you
For the
very
approval.
much. All right. Technical difficulties. All right, the next item on this evening's agenda is new business. Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission election of chair, vice chair, and assignment of liaison. Are there any comments you'd like to make on this item, Director Minter?
Sure, I'll just do a brief introduction. I do want to welcome our newest commissioner to give us a full group of 7, so it's great to see all 7 chairs filled. The election of the chair, there's an attachment that is included in your packet that discusses the election process briefly. That the chair will serve for approximately 1 year, as stated in the recommendation. The reason we put approximately is because we would plan to redo the election most likely at the next February meeting, so it's not quite a full year. Didn't want to get anybody's hopes up if they were counting on 1 full year's worth of meetings. That would be for the election of both the chair and vice chair. I think we would recommend taking those in separate actions with the commissioners choosing to nominate. If someone were to nominate you to be the chair and you did not want to, you are free to decline. If there are multiple nominations, then we would have a vote and each commissioner would be voting for the nominee of their choice. That would go for chair. After the chair is filled, we would do that for the vice chair and start the process again. And then we would move on to the liaison for the Fairview Park Steering Committee. I've talked to a couple of commissioners just as recently as today about training and having a commissioner, committee member, staff manual. The last one was published in 2012, which is a bit dated. The city manager or the assistant city manager and the city clerk are currently working on it, and as soon as they have the updated copy, we will make sure that it gets into the hands of all the people that need it, namely our commissioners and committee members. A lot of valuable information in that packet. If you feel like you want to see a copy of the current one, just let myself or Laura know, and we'll get one sent over to you. But just so you know, it will be getting updated or is in the review process right now. A lot of great information there, as I mentioned, things about the Brown Act, things, to-dos and not to-dos, and just a little bit more about how the meetings are run, but it is going to be an updated copy. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Chair, and if anyone has any questions, I'll try to be here to help guide you along.
Thank you, Director Minter. Are there any specific questions for Director Minter? All right, hearing none, we would open this item up for public comment. If there is no one in the audience who would like to address that issue, Ms. Fatua, do we have anyone on Zoom who would like to address the commission?
I see no hands raised. Chair.
All right, thank you very much. Then we'll close public comment and we'll entertain a motion. I would like to move.
Just a nomination, I think, at this point.
Sorry.
A nomination,
Yes, a nomination.
not a motion, but a nomination.
Yes, I would make the nomination of chair for Commissioner Rutherford.
And I'll second that.
All right, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any other nominations for chair? All right, seeing none, then,
Would you like a motion to close the nominations?
Well, sorry,
Okay, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, so sorry. I was a little late on the click there. I was gonna make a motion to have you continue, should you be willing. Definitely appreciated your leadership in my time here, but, should you still be interested? I'm not sure what your plans are.
Thank you very much, but I will decline. But thank you, Commissioner. All right, so there are no other nominations, then we'll close the nomination for chair, and we'll call for the question.
Okay, so wait,
The-
you made a motion to elect,
Commissioner
Rutherford.
Rutherford for chair.
and then Murphy, seconded, okay.
No, Dorn Parker.
Dern, sorry. Okay, one moment. Okay. Commissioner Andrade Vallarta? Oh, I'm sorry, let me start the vote. Okay. Motion carries 7-0 for Commissioner Rutherford to become chair for the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
And with that, I think I will take this gavel and turn it over to you, Commissioner Rutherford. And if I might, before I turn it over, I would just like to thank all of you for the support over the past year. It's been really wonderful. It's also been especially wonderful to have the chair as my vice chair, helping me through my technological difficulties. And the young man in the audience agrees. So with that, I turn it over to you.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Madam Chair. I think we all have appreciated your service to the city and on this commission and in many other aspects of our community. So we look forward to continuing to have your input and support. At this point in time, I would like to entertain a nomination of Commissioner Dorn Parker for Vice Chair.
I'll second it.
All right, one moment, let me see. Okay.
Are there any other nominations for vice chair? And then is she willing to accept?
Motion carries 7-0 for Commissioner Dorn Parker to take the role as vice chair. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Commissioner Dorn Parker. At this time, are there any nominations for liaison to the Fairview Park Steering Committee?
I would like to make a motion. Chair, I would like to nominate Commissioner Brown to the position of the liaison to Fairview Park Steering Committee. That is her district, and she's well familiar with that, and I think she'll be great service to us in that position.
Thank you. There's a motion for Commissioner Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any other nominations for liaison to the Fairview Park Steering Committee? Seeing none, we'll call the question.
Who seconded it? And then, okay, all right. Oh, hold on. Let me redo that. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to redo that one. So we need to do the motion. Hold on. One moment. So, okay. If you guys can just vote one more time.
Sure.
Motion carries 7-0 for Commissioner Brown to be the liaison for the Fairview Park Steering Committee.
All right, thank you. I believe, unless that's wrong, Mr. Minter, that brings us to the end of new business item A. Next on the agenda is new business item B, Earth Day and Arbor Day report. Mr. Minter, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Like a lot of agendas, by the time we post the agenda, things happen before the meeting. So unfortunately, Earth Day, hopefully everyone was aware of it and got the notification in the flyer prior to. And for those that were able to join, thank you very much. I think it was a fantastic day, a lot of great information. Unfortunately, Mother Earth was showing us her windy side. But other than that, there were a lot of great opportunities. I had a chance to ride a bike to make a smoothie. I don't know how many others were able to do that as well. What I learned about myself is I should have pedaled harder and faster because I didn't get rid of all the ice. So lesson learned. But it was a great event. I do want to thank Monique Villasenor from our shop. We had a number of employees that all assisted day of and in some of the planning. Kelly Dalton, our Fairview Park administrator, had arranged tours. So we took the EV buses, or the EV bus over to Fairview Park. I believe the first shuttle of the day was relatively empty. People were still enjoying the rest of the festivities, but there were a few more people in the afternoon. But a lot of great information shared and learned for future Earth Day events. So thank you to Salem with the Public Services Department for taking the lead. And it was one of those team effort, city team effort type of an events. And I know the city is very proud to be a part or to be the host of that. Arbor Day is tomorrow, and we are doing a tree planting. There is a flyer in your packet that talks about Arbor Day, and we have a video to share with you. For those of you that frequent our Instagram or Facebook pages or the YouTube channel, you may have already seen it. But Laura is going to queue up a video that was produced that I think pertains to Arbor Day and kind of shows off the value and benefit of trees. So enjoy. And in case you're wondering about the strategy behind staff, is it no coincidence there are no tree removal hearings on tonight's agenda. But that completes the Earth Day Arbor Day report, unless you have any questions. I know we have with us the Arbor Day Tree Planter of the Year award from last year, the former chairperson, Charlene Ashendorf. So I believe she is going to be reprising her role of expert tree planter tomorrow at Wakeham Park. Unfortunately, I can't be there, but you are welcome to go. I believe the times on it, they do plant the trees a lot faster than they say, so I would try to err on closer to 9 a.m. than 12, because if you get there at like 11:30, you may find nothing but trees already planted. So, but thank you to City Cable for putting that little video together. I know they did it for other purposes, but I think it's a great, piece in terms of showing the value of trees in our community. So that's the end of that report.
Thank you, Mr. Minner. At this time, are there any questions from commissioners? Seeing none, at this time, we'll open up public comments on the item. If there are any commenters on Zoom, Ms. Fatua?
There are no members present, with their hands raised. Thank you.
Pardon me, Chair. I had a quick question. I wanted to learn, maybe this question is more directed for the director and their staff. Like, what's the common strategy just for our education on getting the word out to the community to, be informed of events?
The city does have the Facebook page. Instagram updates do go out regularly. I find myself on the older end of the spectrum that does not have either, so I rely on my youthful staff like Laura and Monique to give me updates on Instagram. I am not completely immune to social media, but I will not divulge what I choose to partake in. But social media is a big part of it. The Costa Mesa Minute, they will do updates on that. I know Salem had done one for Earth Day. I know many of our staff have been featured in some of the Costa Mesa Minutes for various events. I think Monique is one of the reigning champs. How many do you have? Do you have 2 or 3 that you've done? So, they are doing a great job in the absence of the retired Dane Bora in circulating who gets to star in the Costa Mesa Minute. For some reason, I haven't been able to do one. I'm not sure if that's intentional or on their part or mine. But that's the primary ways: the website, the city calendar, those types of things.
Okay. I wonder if there's, opportunity, right? Because we're trying to encourage, participation or attendance of kids and families. Like, is there an opportunity to maybe have a connection with local PTAs or, post these at school boards so that we get a little more visibility, right? And variety. I know. Thank you so much, Laura, for your help in finding a Spanish version. Although I personally couldn't make Earth Day, I was very eager to post it in whatever community board I can find in my local neighborhood just to make sure that I get the word out to my local community. So is something like that available, or a potential partnership like that with schools?
Monique also sits on the kind of a special events team, so she can bring it up with them and maybe go over the different methods for it, and it's something we can bring back later or with more information. Yeah. Did you have any comments on publicity for events, Monique?
So we do have an events team that meets, and CMTV pushes it out on there. Also through our PIO office, we have press releases that go out. We have liaisons with the Newport Mesa Unified, so they go to the schools, and the actual people at the different schools will get those and post them. Sometimes they have flyers that go on through their newsletters or anything like that. So PIO office does a really good job of pushing out our information in all the various types of ways that media can handle our marketing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, very similar.
Peach Jar, right? Don't they use Peach Jar for flyer distribution for programs?
Perfect. Yeah, because very much like you, I'm not on social media too often, but I'm always looking, where can I see a flyer? How can the community physically see because it's great artwork as well. So there's definitely very colorful. So thanks so much for sharing.
I think the trick is to, you can't just post it once. It's something that they have to do frequently because, you do get busy during the days. And, if it's only one social media post, it's easy to miss. So
Good. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other Commissioner questions? Seeing none, this is a general update, so there's no commission action required at this time. So we'll close this item and move on to monthly reports. First is the Park Ranger report for March 22. At this time, Mr. Minter, do you have any comments about the report?
no, the report from the Park Ranger program is before you. I think the report speaks for itself, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
At this time, are there any commissioner questions about the report?
Yeah, I just had a question. that I noticed that there's no leash law violations, and there's been more and more complaints locally in my East Side neighborhood as I walk it, especially in the evenings, asking people. I'd love to become a little more proactive and understand how can we support dogs staying on leash, figure out how we can be informative, education, and proactive. I really, this is becoming a more serious problems as more events where dogs knocking over small children, they're coming on playgrounds. And I also understand we don't have a lot of enforcement personnel available, but I'd like to see, and I'm happy to step in that space to find out how can we do a better job of, I don't know whether it's informing, it's signage, it's pooping bags, I'm not quite sure, but I know the city of Irvine, city of Newport Beach, and city of Huntington Beach really have this nailed. They really don't have a problem. They have lots of enforcement. They don't seem to have these issues. They're quick to cite violators, and they just seem to have a more comprehensive approach. I'd like, this year I'll take this on because every time, it's all anecdotal, there's no data, but every time I go to a park and I talk to the families, how are you liking that? They'll point at Harper, they'll point at Brentwood, the dogs are off leash. They step in their poop because no one's picking it up, but they also point out when I go up to people and say, do you know the dogs have to be on leash and you're supposed to pick up their poop? They said, well, there's no signs, there's no pooping bags, what am I supposed to do? So I would like to be more proactive. And so I wanted to let the other commissioners know this is really important. And I know Commissioner Lab had said the same thing. He's seeing more and more in his neighborhood that I don't think we need to take this anymore. I don't think our families need to be run over. I don't think these kids need to be taken down by these dogs. I don't think these dog owners need to treat our officers the way they've been treated. So I'd like to recommend, and I understand without leash law violations, I'm not sure what the solution is, but I know there's solutions out there that surrounding cities have, and I'd like us to pursue some of those. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorn Parker, for that comment. And I definitely second what you're saying. I think this is something we should look at. And Mr. Minter, similar to the conversation that we had, I think there's parts of city code that maybe are outdated and no longer relevant, and maybe parts of the city code that should be more heavily enforced. So I hope that's something we could look at. Are there any other commissioner comments? Yes, Commissioner Ashendorf.
I was just, you brought up a really good point, Commissioner Dorn Parker, and I was wondering if there was a way that when we have the Spring Bark Fest or any kind of event where people come with their dogs, we have the city sets up tables for other information, that may be at least one way to get the message in people's dogs' faces.
I concur that it begins with education and opportunities, and I think that would be great. If there's a way we can begin on our events where, especially I know concerts in the park, I bring my dogs, they're on leash, but that's a huge citywide event, and what a great idea to start with the Bark Fest and some of these other citywide events. And I know we're going to have lovely also movies in the park where I know there's a lot of dogs that come out on leashes, so great idea. I concur.
Seeing no other commissioner comments, the floor is yours, Commissioner.
I had a question about, citations that are given to our houseless neighbors. Thinking about, technically parks in our area are for everyone. And I completely understand we shouldn't be camping out or sleeping there. But I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to maybe evaluate the way we handle our houseless neighbors, right? They're maybe just, looking for an opportunity to rest. Citing them, it only exacerbates their situation. So I don't know how it works logistically or legally with the police department, but maybe it's just a matter of clearing them off, right? I understand we want to keep it clear for the public use and maybe not a lot of making it accessible to everybody that might be a little weary, but I don't know that citing them is a solution, proper solution for our hostless neighbors, giving them a little reprieve of respect and dignity. So I don't know how it works with the police department, but just wanted to bring that up as an opportunity.
The citation, the 11-304.
Yeah, in Victoria Park, or Vista, excuse me, on Victoria Street.
Okay. I mean, I know that the police department works, with our shelter to try to get people connected. The shelter does have protocols, obviously, with COVID and some of those things. There are people that refuse the assistance, and I think, yes, it's a very complicated topic. I don't have, all of the information on the particular citations to know, if it was a first time or a warning or, they're asked to relocate. But, I do know that the city does go to great lengths to try to connect people to housing opportunities and not be forced into citations. When it comes to trespassing in areas that are clearly marked, like at Fairview Park, that is, you're damaging sensitive habitat. So I think, there is, a little bit more impetus on making sure that those aren't happens versus sleeping in your car or things like that. But, I do know that the outreach program for the police department, they do put a lot of effort into trying to get people into shelter and not just site. But
Yeah, absolutely. I thank you for that, because, yeah, absolutely. Citation is really not a solution to the issue, but appreciate it.
If I may, one follow-up question would be the citation to 546, the, off path. I guess I would just be curious, and I did the ride along, and I didn't bring this data to ask them the question, but when you're looking at citations, I wonder if that falls into a similar category. It would be a question I would have for the park ranger.
I don't have that answer, but as that clearly is a Talbert Park related citation, I would think that, it would be a lot to do with being in inappropriate areas, or, Talbert is a nature preserve as well, and quite a large park, so I'm not sure how they quantify exactly where in Talbert Park they were, but I mean, I can ask and for more information for the next report. The sad part is this is for March, and we're a day away from May, or a couple of days away from May, so I will be working with the chair on future item to consider alternative dates for our meetings so we can be a little bit more relevant with the timing of it. But
one idea would be, if I'm looking at you, Commissioner Vallartes, if we're interested in pursuing this, maybe there's an opportunity to bring the park ranger to a meeting and we could have a conversation about this. I'm just throwing that out there.
we had Lieutenant Brian Watkins come before the commission before, and we can request his presence, or Sergeant Garcia, or someone to come to commission again for sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Are there any other commissioner comments?
Yeah.
Yes.
So thanks, Commissioner Vallarta. Of course, homelessness is also a concern of mine, and there's certainly quite a few citations in Wilson Park, and certainly I think we were all apprised of the email that was sent over to us, and more activity happening over at Wilson Park. I know that COVID sort of curtailed the activities of the city's street outreach team. So I would want an update. It would be great if we could have one to see if that is the number that is first called rather than the police for these incidents, because I know the city has spent a considerable amount of money and energy and time. They built up a great street outreach team. The whole point of them is to make those relationships, to try to get folks to accept the help, and to make that connection, to feel that trust, and hopefully go get some help. So it just seems like there's a lot of citations listed here for around issues about not being housed. And so it would be good to know whether the city is bringing, that group back out again on the streets. I know COVID, was a problem for a while, but what the status is would be great. because I'd also love to, be able to give some sort of answer to the neighbor to Wilson Park who is having such a tough time. If it's possible to have that report or get a status update on their activities, the street outreach team.
I can work with like I said, the lieutenant responsible for the program. I think they are, the police department typically does rotations. I think in the next couple months they will be doing a rotation. So if we can catch him before he rotates off to another assignment, would probably be a good idea if I can schedule that for our next
Yeah, but
meeting.
there's also the whole homelessness solutions network that the city has. I don't know that that's necessarily directly connected to the police.
I can talk to our homeless team, the staff, and see if they have input that pertains to the parks that they can share with us.
And the other question would also be, as to whether or not they're coordinating with the county's street outreach team and their blue shirts, they're called. The county has also been spending a lot of money on developing rapid response protocols for when people are making calls for people who are experiencing mental health issues or having health issues that are when they're unhoused. And so it would be great to know if they're coordinating with them. Is that their first call? Is there a tree, of calls you can make before you can call the police to kind of help with that issue of not being cited? Because as we know, they're not able to pay those fines, and it just makes kind of getting themselves back together a little bit harder.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the lieutenant and find out if we can get him or one of the staff members to come back. I know our next meeting is going to be heavy on the CIP. So if it doesn't happen in May, then potentially June. But I'll work with PD and report back.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Murphy. Are there any other commissioner comments? Seeing none, I just had a quick question, Mr. Minter. I think our city's fortunate to have a dedicated member of the team, such as Sergeant Garcia. I've had the privilege of knowing him, and I know how dedicated he is to our community. So I think it's wonderful that he is out protecting our parks. What level is it appropriate for commissioners to reach out to Mr. Garcia just to have conversations about his role, or would you prefer that to go directly through you, Mr. Minter?
As for all issues, if commissioners have inquiries or things they would like to see or ask or do, I would prefer that they come through me or through Laura, through the both of us. She will keep me apprised. And that goes especially for setting up or communicating or meeting with staff. We did set up tours with the park rangers. I think all of you that were able to go found them informative. We can work with them on setting up, new appointments if new questions have come up, or now you're like, oh, these are all things that I would like to ask a park ranger. Park rangers obviously aren't the only, group out there patrolling parks. In fact, they probably patrol parks for less hours than the police officers that work 24-hour shifts, as opposed to mostly the daytime focus of the park rangers. Did want to point out that Sergeant Garcia was a PAX commissioner for about 10 minutes or so, but we can still include him in our in our commissioners of the past report. But yeah, that is something we can return with in the future.
Thank you. This is another general update item, so there's no action from the commission, so we'll receive and file. And that brings us to the director's report. So Mr. Minter, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to start with the arts in Costa Mesa. It was a conversation or an email conversation with our new chair who had asked about the utility box art program. And so we thought we'd pull up the application. If any member, budding young artist or, veteran artist wants to participate in the utility box art program, there is a link on our website to submit your application. Laura is pulling it up. If you haven't done so already, click the presentation button and you can see it on your screen. So that's with the different locations. I know our new art specialist who you met last month is working on making sure that all the utility boxes are posted and available so that anyone in the community can find the ones that are currently done and the ones that are available alike. So we were at a district meeting just the other day, and the water district was participating in a program about Stella the Whale, and it was coincidental that the artist that designed Stella the Whale as part of that project has a utility box. Our meeting was taking place at the school district offices and right across the street at the corner of Baker and Bear. There was the utility box with the little puppies and pets on it. That's a super colorful little box. So it was really cool that that all kind of worked out in small world type of a status. But that is the arts application. Thank you, Laura, for bringing that up. Does anybody have any questions about that before I move on?
Yes, Chair. I just wanted to add, the artist is our own Costa Mesa resident, Bonnie Matthews, and she is gangbusters for the arts in our city. So thank you.
So yeah, that's the application. Thank you, Laura. Moving on in the report, there's certain things that I will leave to our rec manager to cover. I did want to talk about the capital projects. We do have a few things going on, and then kind of give you a little prelude to the CIP that's coming next month. I know it was already discussed about the presentation that was made at the City Council study session on Tuesday. A kudos to all the staff that participated in talking about the various capital projects. Having worked for different cities for years, I think our capital improvement program is quite healthy. And if you look at the amount of money that's spent on a variety of projects, it's not just streets, it's not just active transportation, it's not just parks, it's really throughout the city. There's fire station projects happening right now, police station range projects that are coming up. It really is a very thorough capital improvement program. Our parks, we're on the lower side. We are looking at very few funds coming in from developments, which is what funds our park development fees. But the projects that we do have going on, the Jack Kemet Sports Complex is nearing completion. We're probably about a little over a month and a half left to go. If you've driven up and down Fairview, you can see the storage building. There's a roof on it now. They're working on finishing the electrical and doing the doors for it. It's very exciting to see. The storage containers that are on the back side will be relocated in the next couple of weeks so that they can do the pavement and slurry seal, and then the striping. And I think one of the last things that you'll see is the light poles going in, and then the landscaping will be the finishing touch. There are a couple of tournaments coming up end of May, early June. There's this large soccer tournament, and then the much heralded Pilot Cup will be May 31st through June 5th. I did a save the date for council members. I will forward that email to each of the commissioners because there's quite a few different events that I want you guys to have on your calendars, including the movies in the park and things the events. Back to those CIP project updates, the Downtown Aquatic Center is still closed. We're hoping for a reopening prior to the busy summer season. They are redoing the plaster, the tile, and putting in a new ADA lift, and then hopefully figuring out some electrical issues in the pool. But that's an exciting project. And one of those ones that you don't realize until you go out, like the pool's really big when it's empty. It doesn't look as big when it's full of water, but it was great to see the progress on that project. Previously, staff had brought forward Jordan Park and Tanager Park. Those projects are getting ready to start. Those were mentioned in the CIP update as well. And they've also started doing improvements to the volleyball area at Tanager. So that's the volleyball area, the fitness area, the playground, and the 2 new pickleball courts that are all coming at Tanager Park. So that's going to be very exciting. We'll have hopefully a little ribbon cutting at one point with the mayor and council, and the commissioners would all be invited to that. Finally, the Norma Herzog Center. They have started construction on the patio. There was a DG patio. That was all that was included in the original project. There was a little bit of funding left over, so we're adding some paving, some lighting, some shade elements, and some additional landscaping. So it's going to be nice to see those improvements, and then hopefully by that time we have our new program coordinator that will oversee rentals of the Herzog Center, and we'll be able to open up the doors and start our rental program for the Herzog. a couple of the notes, the Duncan Library musical instruments that were mentioned that came before the commission, those arrived way sooner than we thought they would, but public works staff have been kind of pairing different projects together to get the concrete work done. I'm very excited about that. We have the location identified, the layout identified. Should be quite an addition to an already exciting park or playground over there at Lions Park. And then finally, thank you for the kudos on the rec guide, Tiana Johnson, who has gained fame through events like Scarecrow Fest, also is responsible for the park guide. We do have some big things coming. I'm going to leave it at that, kind of a teaser when it comes to the guide, but we are excited to see it in print again for the first time in a year and a half or since COVID, before I started. So thank you so much to Tiana. It is a team effort, but she's the one that collects all the information from all the different staff and gets it all coordinated. And with that, I will turn it over to Monique.
Thank you, Director Minter. I just wanted to first off highlight that you may see and have noticed additional items in the director's report this month. We thought that we should start including everything that we do and some things that you guys haven't seen before. So, just to highlight how hard our staff is working and everything that this department does. Sometimes you only see the stuff like events or that really get notoriety, but we do a lot more than just events, even though we love doing them. So, I just wanted to highlight, speaking of events, we have the Spring Bark Bash that's coming up, so we will have that before our next meeting, so I hope you guys can all attend. It will be quite expanded from previous events. We're trying to really emphasize some of our animal care services and get the word out, and we can even incorporate some of the dogs off leashes. We'll talk to Jessica, one of our program coordinators, about highlighting that in the event, so I'll bring that note to her. We added the arts in Costa Mesa section with bringing on Laurette Gardner, our art specialist. She has hit the ground running, and she's really done a lot, as Director Minter has highlighted with the utility box and the website updates. So we have a poster project that is out now. It's highlighted in the guide if you haven't noticed it, and if you haven't looked through our guide, yes, please do. We're excited that it's in print, but it's for the Parks Make Life Better month in July, but we're getting started now. So I believe beginning May 2nd, you can pick up your art kit at our various facilities to create a poster project that we'll have it for presentation later this summer. So look for May 2nd to stop by Balearic or City Hall or Downtown Recreation Center to pick up your art kit to highlight some of our parks in the city. Another new item that we have is just some of our numbers, such as our community gardens, and we really show this to see how popular some of our programs are. They're full. A lot of them are at capacity, and we have wait lists. And just that you guys know that how popular a lot of our programs that we haven't reported on in the past. Highlighting something from our senior center. A lot of our senior center programs are coming back in person. And if you notice that the Chronicle has also, which is their senior newsletter, has come out in print too as well. And they have little asterisks by each of their programs saying IPs, which means in person now. And a lot of people are excited. The Mother's Day event is coming up, and that will be the first ever in person after the pandemic. They also highlight in that the July 4th celebration, that's going to be in person. So they're really excited about bringing people back, having in-person programming again. Our Downtown Recreation Center, we have some numbers there, but also I just wanted to highlight that we did expand pickleball. We heard a cry for more pickleball days at the Downtown Recreation Center. I've seen people waiting in line, so we did expand some of the times there for pickleball play. Moving on, I just wanted to, we're expanding, just like I said, kind of the theme here is that even contract classes, as we pick up and move forward and bring more staff on board, staffing still is an issue, so we're still trying to hire. So if you know anybody still, please keep sending them our way. But as we bring on more staff, we can have more programs and contract classes and staff our facilities for those classes. want to highlight Fairview Park. In case you didn't know, they have restoration days on the second Saturdays. I've been to a few before, so if you haven't been to one, they're actually interesting. You get to learn a lot about Fairview Park, and I know that we have our steering committee, but participating in these restoration events really helps you learn a lot about that park in particular. There's a lot of interesting facts about that. If you haven't had a chance to go on our Earth Day tour, you can always go out there to a restoration day, and there's a lot of knowledgeable people out there that will give you facts about that park. I think Fairview Park will also be a project during our Love Costa Mesa Day. I think Director Minter can give a little bit more updates on those. But just a couple other new items. We talk about our park reservations and special event permits. Those are something that are huge in our city and our department, and probably pretty much every day upstairs we're taking applications and we're going through the process. Some of our parks are booked up to a year in advance, if you didn't know. So I think we take very good care of our shelters, and we book them out so fast, and I think that's why our parks are really upkept and neat, and we work with our public services, and especially parks like Tewinkle that are booked consistently solid. So other things like the special event permits, they take quite a bit of time, but we have all the big events. We did the cyclocross, and we work on permits like the OC Marathon. That all comes through us. Other departments too, but it also comes through us. So it's a lot of stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. I'd like to thank anybody who came out to Springfest event. I know we had Springfest and Earth Day. Springfest and Earth Day were both the first of its kind, but we hope to repeat Springfest as our department, springtime celebration. Tiana Johnson and Elena Martinez specifically were program coordinators. It was a department effort, but it takes a lot to plan a first time ever event, and so I think they executed it very well. And just, with the guide coming out, summer registration is now in full effect. Spread the word. Our camps fill up fast. Our summer programs fill up fast. And they're in high demand, and I think that speaks to how well they are run by our staff. And we hope to see you guys all at our summer programming this summer. So I think that's it on my end.
So just to follow up on a couple of things, Love Costa Mesa Day. Hopefully all of you have participated in Love Costa Mesa Day at some point. Our Public Services Department is hosting a variety of projects to help clean up excuse me, some of the shelters and picnic areas. Kelly Dalton, our Fairview Park Administrator, is hosting two. One is a restoration cleanup at Fairview Park, and the other one is at Canyon Park. So definitely log on to the Trellis website. If you're not sure how to look it up, Love Costa Mesa is great in your search browser. It gets you there. You can sign up and you sign the electronic waiver. So as soon as you show up, you are ready to work. But there are multiple projects that take place at parks that are being led by our Public Works team as well. The July is Parks and Recreation Month. We do plan to bring part of that back to the commission so that you guys can be a part of it in June. It's very cool to have, Lorette here to start that project and really start working on the arts education component of the Arts and Culture Master Plan. We're also looking, I think I've mentioned before, on bringing forward to council in the next 2 months the creation of the Arts Commission and the bylaws and everything that goes along with that. She is currently working on the public art policy was called out in the master plan as well. So a lot going on in that area too. So with that, Monique and I are here to try to answer any questions, but it is a very busy time. I don't know if there's a month that we won't say that. So I think every month you might hear that on repeat. It'll be like a footer at the bottom of every page. So, but it's been great. We have a really strong team. I think since I started a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago now, when there was very little to no programming, we've come a long way, and I think we brought on a lot of key staff members. We have 2 vacancies in coordinator positions that we're looking to fill in the next 2 months, hopefully to continue to build our staff and really provide quality programs. And then as Monique mentioned, part-time staffing, we are at a low, and the more staff we can bring on, the more people off the wait list we can take, and it would really help solve community needs the more staff we bring on. But that's our report.
Thank you, Mr. Minter. We appreciate how hard you all are working. So as always, let us know how we can continue to support, or even if you want a donuts or coffee one day, give us a call. We can help out.
All those commissioners with kids, I don't know, 10 and 11 might be a little young to get them working in
wasn't
parks,
talking-
but
yeah, I wasn't
they have
talking about
fake
any
IDs. Can they prove they're 15? I'm kidding.
Are there any commissioner? Are there any commissioner questions at this time? Yes, Commissioner Ashendorf.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, this is the finest report I've seen in 2 years. It's really exciting. It's over the top. And can I put in a personal request to get 25 copies of the arts project? Because I'll distribute them all over to the seniors and to my neighborhood. I'm really excited about that poster project. It was interesting when you look at, to see the community gardens put back in the report, because the senior center used to have a time when they were being taken to the community garden, but we couldn't get the beds right for the seniors, and bending over was an issue. But it seems to me that we have quite a demand for a public garden in this, another public garden, not that we have extra space somewhere, but what a valuable asset it is in our community to have a public garden. So I'm just putting that in your nightcap. And two questions. When will the senior center be available for rentals as it used to be, or is that already happening? They were renting out rooms, community rooms at the senior center in the evenings.
There were some grandfathered in agreements for larger groups, I believe. They're working on a rental policy.
Okay.
I don't believe there had been a rental policy before, and trying to make sure we keep control over it. It's such a valuable center, and we need to keep it in good condition. The stage was recently refurbished, which was nice. I mean, it's an outstanding facility, so it's making sure we have that policy in place to keep it that way.
Thank you. And I challenge you, commissioners. I've already registered to do painting at my park, my neighborhood park, Moon Park. So you have 2 weeks to get your registration in. Thank you, Chair.
If I can make a quick comment, just following back up on that, is to try to engage the commissioners as much as possible. We hope that, if we can send out the save the dates, you don't necessarily have to come to all of the events, but, you can show up for a few minutes, make an appearance. Laura is working on, reviving the name badges so that each commissioner has a name badge. You should all have business cards that you can hand out. When you talk about different ways to do outreach when it comes to dogs off leash or homelessness or whatever the issues are in different parks, the more your faces and names are out there, talking to the community. I would encourage you, if you are meeting, obviously with the staff, as we mentioned, that you let me know and make sure that, staff are aware of that. But we really want you as commissioners to be out in the community and to be at events and, talking about the projects that are happening and listening to the public about things they want. When the CIP comes before you next month, it is an opportunity for you to share thoughts and things that you've heard. The sad part is limited funding makes it really hard to accomplish all the projects that we want. We do have other potential funding opportunities coming up. Not that I don't want to get into details yet, but we do hope that we can have, to get some state money that we can put towards some of these projects, because we do have a long list and things we want to accomplish. I'm sorry that the family left with our cheerleader down there, the young man. We are, looking at trying to revive the skate park expansion project and potentially include a pump track type element, and looking at some of the other areas. Skate parks, pump tracks in general are sometimes hard to squeeze into neighborhoods, but we're definitely looking forward to, both Monique and I, reviving that skate park project and bringing it back. I know it's been sitting in the capital budget list for quite some time. So whatever we can do to help you as commissioners be engaged with the community, we will try to do. And, these events are going to be ways to do it, concerts, all that stuff. So thank you.
I have a question for Director. So do we have the ability to get a name badge so that when I'm like walking up to people, it's not just, who the heck are you, lady?
It should be in a week or two, so as soon as they're available, we can work on getting
Okay.
those to you
I'll
guys.
work with you. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's for everyone, so just,
Worst case scenario, next meeting, but, hopefully they'll be in before that and we can let you know and make arrangements.
my goal is before Love Costa Mesa Day. Yeah, so just so you guys have an idea.
That would be great. Thank you, Laura.
I think she's saying if you volunteer, you'll get a name badge.
There we go.
That's where I can provide it.
I would just like to add that, yes, that was one of the first things that was said to me is, can we expand the skate park? I mean, I think I was sworn in last Wednesday, and I've heard about that twice. So, just FYI.
Monique and I both have experience working with skate parks, so it's something we both want to play a part in. I'll probably let her do most of the work, but I definitely want to be involved, so.
Well, you have lots of community interest, so I'm sure you know.
I worked on very many skate parks in the past at my former agencies, so.
They're great.
Community outreach is definitely going to be a component of it and making sure that they feel engaged. One of the things that we've started, was actual skate camps and trying to make sure we have skate camp area and still enough public area. But a pump track is something that have heard a lot about. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some exciting things to come forward regarding the skate park and the tennis center and, the variety of different things that we're working on now, so.
Can I ask one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably very dumb question. But is there anything going on with Neth Park? I don't.
Right now, we don't have any other or additional amenities planned. I know we've had a couple of people in the community ask for a couple of things, including our mayor has asked for a couple of things, but, it's getting the monument sign done and the park renamed was at the top of the list. So I think getting those things done, every time I drive down, Fair, like it's really cool. It really pops right there on the corner. As far as additional amenities, there is nothing in the works at this point.
Would that be part of the CIP?
It can be part of the CIP. What the commission would be doing is, sharing their thoughts with Raja, the public services director, and his team. They all kind of get put into the meeting minutes, the notes, and, that council that will be shared with council for them to look at. And if one of the council members has interest in one of those projects, they can ask for funding to be allocated to it. Kind of depends on, what it is, the nature of it, the cost, all those things. Did you have something specific in mind?
No, I actually honestly don't, but it's a beautiful spot and it's just open and I mean,
Great potential.
It's got tons of potential. I don't even know if just like, picnic tables or something, but I just would imagine as word gets out in my neighborhood that's right there that, in College Park that they'll ask me, is there anything going on with it? So just wanted to be prepared with an answer.
It's a beautiful neighborhood park. Parking can be a challenge, if the fairgrounds are all closed. No restrooms, no parking, and then having the residential, just to the south. But there are some passive elements that that have been considered. But then it's just prioritization at this point.
Yeah, I also want to give a shout out to the staff. I mean, amazing work. I love this very detailed report. And my kid and I are eagerly waiting for some wait lists to open up. So we're very excited for the summer classes and great job again on this wonderful guide. I do have a question for parents in my community asking about rocks being available at Wilson Elementary. So I know that right now it's limited at 9, and so I'm not sure, is that a budgeting limitation or is it just a need in the community, or how do we go about expanding that to Wilson Elementary? And then as well, I'm not seeing a lot of, in the year that we've been at Rocks, I haven't seen much of the enrichment part. There's great physical activity and games and, sports equipment available. But the enrichment part seems to be an opportunity. So we'd love to hear more about that and how can we get that incorporated in those services there.
So I can address the ROCKS program. It used to be actually originally 11 sites when I came on board. It got cut to 9 for staffing issues, and we focused on more of the need where we had higher enrollment in the past. I think California is one of the bigger schools for ROCKS programs. I think Ray was one of them that we no longer have it at. And it's all determined on need, and if a school asks for it, or the principal of the school asks for it, and if another program exists, like Project Kids Connect through Newport Mesa is offered, or any of their alternative after-school programs is there, and we don't have high enrollment, then we prioritize the ones where we have wait lists at the larger schools that don't have like the programs like Project Kids Connect through Newport Mesa. And so that's how we determine where we staff it and what elementary schools that we have them at, so.
And as for the enrichment, she can talk to staff about adding enrichment opportunities as well.
Yeah, yes, so like, sorry, I was focused on the rocks. But yeah, the enrichment, those are like the contract classes and everything like that.
Or like just the activities and the crafts. I think we probably saw a total of 2 crafts this year at our school.
Oh, through the ROCKS program? Or
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they could definitely address that. We can talk with the staff and the leads who there's a lead at each school site, and so we can talk about what activities and programs. I mean, we take input all the time. More like an example would be our teen center. They asked for a couple of items at our teen center, and so we were able to facilitate that with either, the video games that they were asking for, the consoles, or kind of the activities. They got a new ping pong table, stuff like that they actually want to engage in and play and do after school. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Vallarta. Are there any more commissioner questions? At this time, we'd like to open it up to public comment. I see nobody in the chambers. Ms. Fatua, is there anybody on Zoom?
If there are any members who wish to speak, please raise your hand. Chair, I see no hands raised.
Awesome, thank you. We will close public comment. Mr. Minter, I just wanted to quickly ask you and your team a question. I'm sorry that I'm keeping everybody with this question, but just following up my question about the utility box art program, with 70 boxes still remaining in the city as potential to have a wrap, what is the level of funding for that program? Is there funding secured for 70 boxes? Or is it a per application, per application is funding is solicited? Or maybe you could explain that a little more.
I don't know all the details on it. I mean, we have to get applications in first. We do have funding available. I mean, I know there is funding available right now. They've just approved 6. Didn't they just approve 6? But I think that was listed in the report. But if you want, we can follow up with more information on that for the next meeting. Maybe we can invite Lorette back to talk about the utility box art program. And another cool announcement is hopefully Ashley will be back after maternity leave. So we're excited to get Ashley back. I met her baby Dylan. They're both doing very well.
Oh.
So yeah, well, we can bring back more information on the utility box program specifically if you'd like.
Sure, we can put a pin in that until Ashley is
Well, even if she's not back, we'll make sure that we bring a report back or add information for that for next month. I know they have started, if it's a box that is already wrapped, but it's starting to peel or get scratched or whatever, they have rewrapped some. So that's another reason why there would be some that are vacant. We're rewrapping some. It's not just, 0 to 400 or whatever the number is.
No, this is all really good to know. I think definitely us all as commissioners working to spread the word, see if we can get any artists interested in this, in the same vein as helping you spread the word about the open part-time positions, because those are so important. Just a follow-up question about arts in Costa Mesa. And just as an aside, this is an excellent report. This is the best report I've ever seen in my whole time on the commission. So kudos, Director Minter and Ms. Villasenor. But that was, you alluded to this, and that was one of the specific bullets. I still have my hard copy of the Arts Master Plan that we voted on way back in 2019. But it was a public art program for the city. And the plan specifically called out that there was no, if residents wanted to put forward an idea for art in our public parks, there really is no program or structure for them to do so. So setting up, I assume that is part of those conversations, but I wanted to bring that forward.
You're talking about the public art policy, correct? Yes. The public art policy, we've had worked on a scope, met with our consultant. So Mr. Richard Stein, that had actually worked, him and his group, Arts OC, had worked on the Arts and Culture Master Plan. He is now taking on the public art policy. There will be outreach. So at some point, staff will let you guys know, how to participate in that as the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission until we eventually take the arts out. But you would be part of the stakeholder group that would give some input into that. And I believe it would come before the PACs, depending on timing, how quickly this moves along, and before the Arts Commission all starts up. But the consultant is working on that. It's probably going to be a 4-month to 5-month project in totality, but they are working on it, and we have given him the green light to start. So we're very excited about the public art policy and how it pertains to both temporary art and permanent art and installations, murals, the utility box part. There's quite a few projects that I've been talking to Lorette about, from the completion of the repainting of the mural on Placentia, the Home on the Range mural. So there's quite a few projects. There's a Herzog project that I have her working on. And we're trying to make sure that we tie everything to the master plan, as the funding allows for year 2.
Thank you for that, Mr. Minter. I appreciate other commissioners asking about rocks. I emailed you, and I appreciate your response to that, but I just wanted to drill down on that a little bit, just in the context of, this is something my family's experiencing, many others. A lot of people are going back into the work in the office more, and rocks is a key part of affordable childcare in our community. So I think that any opportunity, given the demand, given that the program used to be more expansive and it was cut due to the pandemic, but now as we're coming out, more people are going back to work. I think any opportunity for us to shore up that program and double down on it is something that I think you've heard a lot of support for tonight. And I certainly encourage all of us to tap our networks to try to get any more part-time staff on your team to help fill those gaps. But I just wanted to surface that and bring that up again and shine a spotlight on that because it's important.
Yeah, wait lists are not our friend. We do not like seeing wait lists, that's for sure. It's kind of heartbreaking when there's people that want and need the program, and we don't have the capacity. So staff do a great job of trying to adjust, to make decisions on the fly, to reassign staff to different programs. Turnover at the part-time level is high. As I sign PAFs, it seems like we get a couple in and then a couple leave, for other opportunities. So yeah, we're staying at it, but it's definitely a competitive market out there.
Sure, absolutely. Last question, just on the point that Commissioner Murphy made. I think there is an important intersection between what happens with the homeless population in our community and how they interact in our public space and in our parks. And so perhaps including, again, this report is perfect, the best I've ever seen, but perhaps including some update or report on what's happening with street outreach and the homeless shelter, maybe that would be a good place to go in this monthly report. So that's just my last piece of feedback.
I'll work with the housing or the homeless team to see if they have any reports, whatever that we can possibly include you to. It kind of falls outside of the jurisdiction of our department, but if there's reports that they might be presenting already in other areas that we might be able to include in, is kind of like the ranger report. I'll figure out what we can do and then hopefully bring it to you at a later date.
Okay, that makes good sense. I think that brings us to the end of our comments on our agenda. So I just wanted to thank everybody. Thank you, Jason, Monique, Laura, for your time tonight. And before we adjourn, I would kindly ask all of our commissioners to stay back just for a minute so we can all take a photo. But we will adjourn at 7:26 p.m. until our next meeting on May 26th, 2022 at 6:00 p.m.